Okay, when you think about a math competition, your mind probably jumps to, intense calculations, maybe some crazy formulas. But what if I told you there's a huge global competition that's way more like a series of fun logic puzzles? Today, we are diving into a competition for students from K all the way to 12th grade that has a pretty interesting name, Math Kangaroo.
Right? That's a totally fair question. Kangaroos are famous for hopping, not for doing algebra. It feels so random, but the name is actually a really clever nod to where it all began.
And if you take a look at the logo, you're getting a massive clue. The name is a direct tribute to the country where this whole unique approach to math took its very first giant leap.
That's it. The name Kangaroo is an homage, a thank you to the competition's Australian roots. It's a way of tipping the hat to the country that got the ball rolling.
And the founder's vision here is so important. Peter O'Halloran wasn't really trying to find the next math prodigy. His goal was to create a test that anybody could try, filled with these really thought-provoking questions that made math feel less like homework and a lot more like a game.
So, how did this idea from Australia manage to hop all the way across the globe? Well, it didn't happen overnight. It was a journey that took decades, spreading from one continent to another, one country at a time.
The journey kicks off in the 80s, right? But the really big moment came in 1991. That's when two French mathematicians saw its potential. They loved the format, adopted it, and officially named it Le Kangaroo, the kangaroo, to honor their Australian friends. From there, it just exploded across Europe. And then, by 1998, it finally landed in the USA, starting off small in Chicago before becoming a national nonprofit.
And from those pretty humble beginnings, just look at this number. Over 6 million students now participate in Math Kangaroo all over the world. That is an absolutely incredible testament to O'Halloran's original idea, that math really can be, and you know what, it should be, for everyone.
So what does it actually look like to compete? What are the rules of the game? Let's get into the nitty-gritty details that make Math Kangaroo so different.
Okay, first off, it's a 90-minute multiple-choice exam. The test itself is broken down into different levels based on grade. So the younger kids in grades 1 through 4 get 24 questions, while the older students get 30. It's all designed to be challenging, for sure, but still totally accessible for each age group.
Now this is where the strategy really comes into play. The scoring system is fascinating. Questions are worth more points depending on how hard they are. But here's the twist. You lose a point if you get an answer wrong, but you lose nothing if you just skip it. This actually encourages you to think critically about which problems you want to tackle, instead of just randomly guessing. Oh, and no calculators allowed. It's all about what you can do with your brain.
And that right there gets to the real heart of it. Math Kangaroo isn't about how many formulas you've memorized. It's about logical reasoning. It's about spatial thinking. The questions are basically puzzles that make you combine different ideas in new and creative ways. Let's just walk through a little example. Imagine you have a single cube. Now, stick another cube to each of its 6 faces. You end up with this kind of plus sign shape, right? The real question is, how many more cubes would you need to cover every single exposed face of this new shape? You really have to visualize it from all sides. The top and bottom arms of the plus have 4 exposed sides plus 1 on top. The side arms have 3 exposed sides plus 1 on the outside. It gets tricky. The answer is 18. And you don't find it with a formula, you find it by methodically visualizing and counting. This is exactly the kind of thinking this competition is all about.
And all of this brings us to the real soul of Math Kangaroo. See, it's not just about finding a winner. The whole competition is built around a much bigger, much more inspiring idea.
I mean, this quote from their official site just says it all. The ultimate goal here isn't getting a high score. It's to help students find the joy in math, to see it as something creative and really rewarding.
So you can see how this whole approach is designed to be super inviting. The goal is to bring in students who might even think they're bad at math and show them a totally different side of it, one that's about puzzles and creativity and the fun of a really good challenge. All right, so you might be thinking, this sounds pretty cool. How do I or my kids get involved? Well, the good news is there's more than one way to take the leap.
So there are basically 2 main ways you can participate. You've got the classic individual competition, which you can do online or in person. But there's also a team competition, which is a fantastic option. It pushes students to work together, focusing on collaboration and communication, key skills that go way beyond just numbers. And in the end, whether you compete by yourself or on a team, the goal comes right back to this idea. It is all about that aha moment. It's about giving students the confidence that comes from wrestling with a really tricky problem and finally cracking it. That feeling, that's the real prize.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. For the millions of students who take part in it, Math Kangaroo is way more than a test. It's a game, it's a puzzle, and it's a completely new perspective. It really makes you wonder, if we all approached math with this same sense of curiosity and play, could a simple puzzle fundamentally change how we see numbers?